So back in 2012, there was this major retail chain, and they actually figured out a teenage girl was pregnant before her own father even knew.
Oh, right, the Target story. That one is, it's pretty legendary at this point.
Yeah, exactly. And the crazy thing is, they didn't do it by, reading her diary or hacking her medical records or anything like that.
Right.
They literally just figured it out by analyzing these really subtle shifts in her purchasing habits. Like, she suddenly started buying unscented lotion and certain specific vitamin supplements.
Which was all the algorithm needed to see.
Yeah. The retailer's algorithm flagged the pattern and just started mailing her coupons for baby clothes.
I mean, you can imagine the father's reaction.
Oh, he was furious. He marched in, accused the store of encouraging teen pregnancy, and then, well, a few weeks later, he actually had to call the store manager back to apologize because it turned out the algorithm was right. She was pregnant.
It really remains one of the most famous and frankly kind of unsettling examples of data in action. It just perfectly illustrates the sheer power of pattern recognition.
Right? And, I mean, it was over a decade ago.
Which is ages in tech time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So today, we are exploring what happens when that kind of predictive power is just like supercharged by modern artificial intelligence. So welcome to the deep dive, everyone.
Glad to be here for this one.
Today, we're looking at a really fascinating book. It's called Future Forecasts, Leveraging Predictive Analytics for Marketing Campaign Success. And our mission for you today is to unpack how the entire marketing landscape is evolving.
Evolving from essentially gut-feeling manual guesswork into this entirely new era of machine-driven foresight.
Yeah, we're going to explore how these tools actually work, how you integrate them into a business without, completely breaking your existing workflows, and how you do all of this without crossing a line into massive privacy violations.
Because that line is, it's getting thinner every day. But it is a remarkable text. And I think to fully grasp the weight of the strategies outlined in Future Forecasts, you really have to look at the author, Dr. Antonio Arnold.
Yeah, his background is, well, it's wildly unexpected for a marketing analytics book.
It really is.
He's a theologian, a pastor, and he actually has military experience serving as an NCO in the Army Reserve and the Air National Guard. Plus, he's a traditional business owner who holds a certification in AI marketing and blockchain essentials from Cornell University.
It's just a resume that forces a totally unique perspective because he understands the cold, hard mathematics of technical systems.
Right.
But through his theology and his military leadership, he also has this profound understanding of human nature, organizational behavior, and ethics.
Which is so rare.
Exactly. He's not just looking at the code. He's looking at the people writing the code and the people being targeted by it. And that intersection is really what makes his approach to predictive marketing so grounded.
So let's start with the core arguments Dr. Arnold makes. Because he says before a company can even touch this technology, they have to undergo this massive psychological shift.
Right. A complete change in mindset.
Yeah, they have to change how they view their data fundamentally.
Precisely. It is the paradigm shift from historical analysis to predictive analysis. I mean, for the last 50 years, marketing analysis has almost entirely been an exercise in looking backward.
Looking at what already happened.
Exactly. You look at historical data to answer, what did we do? You gather last quarter's sales figures, you look at last month's email open rates, and human marketers just sit around a table trying to piece together a narrative that explains the past.
It's like driving a car, but you're only looking in the rear view mirror.
That's a great way to put it.
Like, you know exactly where you've been, you know the exact depth of every pothole you just drove over, but you have absolutely no idea if there's a brick wall 10 feet in front of your bumper.
That is the perfect analogy. You are entirely reactive, but predictive analytics changes the fundamental question. Instead of asking, what did we do, the system asks, what would happen if?
What would happen if?
Right.
It takes all that historical data, feeds it through these statistical algorithms and machine learning models, and literally calculates the mathematical likelihood of future outcomes. So you're no longer looking in the rearview mirror.
No, not at all. You've basically plugged your destination into a highly advanced GPS. And this GPS is calculating traffic patterns, weather systems, road closures miles ahead of you, and it's continuously rerouting you to the fastest path.
Okay, I love the GPS analogy. And Dr. Arnold actually breaks down the types of predictive models into two specific buckets to help answer those what-if questions, right?
It does, yes.
The first bucket is what he calls main effects. Let's talk about that.
So main effects are your direct isolated variables. It's very linear thinking. For example, a marketing director might ask their data team, if we increase our Google search engine marketing budget by 12% next month, will that directly increase our market penetration by 2%?
Okay, so you're testing one specific lever to see one specific result. A leads to B.
Exactly. But then he introduces halo effects, and this is where I realized human intuition completely breaks down.
Because halo effects look at, like, complex combined variables.
Exactly, and this is where the AI really proves its worth. Because the real world doesn't operate in isolated vacuums, right?
Right.
A halo effect model asks a much messier question, like, what is the combined impact of increasing our Google SEM by 12% while simultaneously decreasing our display ad spend by 5% during a week when our competitor is running a major promotion?
Which is, frankly, impossible for a human to calculate. My brain just hears that and goes to static.
Because human brains struggle to accurately weigh multivariable interactions at scale, we naturally want to isolate things to understand them.
Think them simple.
Right. But maybe that 5% decrease in display ads doesn't just lower your click-through rate. Maybe it subconsciously reduces the effectiveness of the Google S campaign because the customer wasn't primed by seeing the visual logo 3 days prior.
Oh, wow. I wouldn't have even thought of that.
Predictive AI thrives on that exact kind of chaotic, multi-layered interaction. It can mathematically map the halo effect of how every single channel influences every other channel.
Okay, so the AI is our super smart GPS. It calculates the main effects. It calculates the halo effects. But I'm going to push back here a little bit.
Go for it.
Knowing the fastest route on a map and actually driving a 10-ton truck through a crowded city are two very different things.
Absolutely.
How does a company actually implement these models? Because telling a massive company to completely change their daily workflow to accommodate a new AI brain sounds like a recipe for a mutiny. It sounds like operations would just grind to a halt.
And if it's implemented poorly, it absolutely will grind operations to a halt. Dr. Arnold is highly critical of companies that chase these short-term rapid-fire gains without maintaining long-term strategic consistency.
He uses that archery analogy, right?
Yes, the robotic arms analogy. It's brilliant.
Can you walk us through that? I found that super helpful.
Certainly. Imagine a business's marketing capability is an archer with a bow and arrow. Marketing automation and AI suddenly give that business robotic arms. So now the archer can pull the bowstring back with 10 times the force, fire arrows 10 times faster, and shoot them significantly further than humanly possible.
Which sounds great on paper, like a massive upgrade.
It does. But what happens if you have an organization with 10,000 employees? You essentially have an army of 10,000 archers, all equipped with these incredibly powerful robotic arms, and they are all firing arrows continuously.
Oh, man.
If the organization has not integrated its strategy, if everyone isn't aiming at the exact same target, you don't have a marketing strategy. You just have heavily armed, high-speed chaos.
You are just burning through budget and confusing the market.
Exactly. You're doing the wrong things, just much faster.
So how do you actually get all the robotic archers aimed at the same target? How do you prevent that mutiny and chaos?
It requires a highly structured integration game plan. And Dr. Arnold outlines a framework centered around what he calls the STP recipe.
STP, that's segmentation, targeting, and positioning, right?
Exactly. It is a mandatory 3-step sequence. First, segmentation. You have to feed the AI enough behavioral data so it can naturally categorize your audience into distinct groups.
Okay, so figure out who is who.
Right. Second, targeting. You have the AI identify the macro-level patterns within those specific segments to find the triggers that actually cause them to buy. And finally, positioning. You craft specific messaging based on those identified triggers and let the automated platforms deliver it to the exact channels where those specific segments spend their time.
But the book makes it very clear that you can't just, like, buy a software subscription, hand it to your team, and say, go do STT.
No, not at all. The workflow adjustments are significant. You have to select platforms that prioritize scalability and integrate seamlessly with your legacy systems through APIs.
Because if they don't connect, it's broken.
Right. If the new AI tool can't talk to your existing sales database, it's completely useless. But more importantly, you have to invest heavily in staff training.
And this connects right back to his military leadership background, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Think about it. You do not hand a platoon a highly advanced experimental weapon system and immediately send them into a firefight. You train them. You drill them.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
There is a steep learning curve with predictive tools. If the human team doesn't understand how to interpret the model's outputs, those robotic arms are just going to misfire.
He also mentions building a test-driven culture.
Yes. The integration isn't a one-time event. It's the creation of an agile environment. Teams must be trained to constantly test hypotheses using performance marketing, review the data the AI returns, and adjust their levers.
So it's less about guessing and more about experimenting.
The culture has to shift from, I think this will work because of my past experience, to, let's test this variable and let the mathematical model predict the outcome.
Okay, let's zoom in on the very first step of that STP recipe. Segmentation. Because as I was reading the source material, this is where the mechanics of the AI really fascinated me. This is like the engine of hyper-personalization.
Intelligent customer segmentation is perhaps the most visible and powerful application of predictive AI right now. We are moving so far beyond basic demographic buckets.
Like women aged 25 to 34 in urban zip codes.
Exactly. That's archaic now.
Right, and the book mentions these specific algorithms, like K means clustering and hierarchical clustering. But let's ELI5 this. Explain it like I'm 5. What does K means actually doing to the data?
Okay, imagine you have a giant table covered in 1,000 scattered points, and each point represents a customer's specific behaviors.
Like what kind of behaviors?
What time of day they browse, how long they watch a specific video, what items they leave in their cart, that kind of thing. K-means clustering is mathematically akin to dropping a set of magnets onto that table.
Okay, I can picture that.
The algorithm automatically finds the center points of different behavioral clusters and pulls similar customer profiles toward them.
And what's wild to me is that it uses unsupervised learning, meaning a human being never programmed the machine to look for, say, moms who buy yoga pants on Tuesdays. The machine just dropped the magnets and found that grouping naturally because the behavioral math proved it existed. It completely removes human bias from the segmentation process.
It really does. The AI might discover a highly profitable segment of customers that a human marketer would literally never have thought to group together.
And the data it's pulling from goes so much deeper than just purchase history, too. The text discusses the heavy utilization of natural language processing, or NLP.
Yes.
Wait, let's unpack unstructured data here, because when I hear data, I picture neat little Excel spreadsheets with strict columns for age, location, and income. Are you saying the NLP is reading actual, messy human text?
That's exactly what it's doing. Unstructured data is everything that doesn't fit neatly into a spreadsheet. We're talking about the AI reading through thousands of customer Yelp reviews, scraping social media comments, and analyzing open-ended survey responses.
It's a lot of reading.
And the NLP algorithms are advanced enough to parse human sentiment. It can read an angry tweet about a delayed flight, understand the sarcasm when a user types, "Great job, airline, really love sleeping on the floor," and correctly categorize that sentiment as highly negative.
That is incredible. I want to highlight the real estate example from the book because it perfectly grounds this abstract tech into reality.
Oh, that's a perfect example.
Right, so imagine two completely anonymous people browsing the exact same real estate website. Under the old intuition-based model, a marketer just sees two IP addresses looking at houses, and they both get the exact same generic pop-up like, sign up for our newsletter.
Which is just a massive wasted opportunity.
Exactly. But with predictive AI segmentation, the system is analyzing their microbehaviors in real time. How long does user A linger on the mortgage calculator? Are they clicking on links explaining property taxes? The AI clusters user A into a nervous first-time homebuyer segment. Meanwhile, user B is rapidly clicking through historical price trends, ignoring the photos, and downloading zoning PDFs. So the AI drops user B into the seasoned property investor bucket.
And instantly, the marketing they receive diverges. The first-time buyer's screen populates with reassuring content. Things like videos explaining the closing process, guides on finding a good inspector.
It's comforting.
Right. But the investor, however, is served hard analytical data on return on investment, cap rates, and emerging market trends in specific zip codes. The AI tailored the entire experience without ever knowing their names.
And looking ahead, Dr. Arnold speculates on some upcoming trends for this intelligent segmentation. It's not just going to analyze past behavior to customize the present. He says the AI is going to actively anticipate future needs.
Yes, predictive email marketing is the real frontier here.
Yep.
Future models won't just trigger an email because you abandoned a cart.
Right, that's what we have now.
Based on a user's current engagement trajectory, the AI will predict that, say, 3 weeks from now, this specific user is going to experience a specific pain point. The system will autonomously draft and queue up a hyper-personalized email offering a solution, timed to arrive in their inbox at the exact moment they realize they have the problem.
That's almost telepathic. He also details how these tools are evolving to handle SEO, search engine optimization. It's automated content creation, basically.
Is.
The AI constantly analyzes emerging search trends across the internet, predicts what topics are about to trend next week, and then literally generates blog articles and social posts that align with that future search intent. It's creating the supply of content to meet the demand before the demand even fully exists.
It is breathtakingly efficient. But as you naturally start to realize when discussing systems that can predict human behavior this accurately, we have to cross into the most critical tension of the book.
You mean the big brother problem?
Yeah.
Because if the AI is generating content to manipulate a future need that the customer doesn't even know they have yet, haven't we crossed a massive ethical line? Like, if a business adopts these tools, aren't they risking catastrophic privacy violations? It feels manipulative. How does Dr. Arnold suggest a company pull back from that territory and not destroy customer trust?
It is the defining tightrope walk of modern marketing. How do you balance data-driven predictive efficiency with firm ethical boundaries? Dr. Arnold's thesis is that privacy-centric marketing isn't just about avoiding a lawsuit, it is a foundational business strategy.
If they feel spied on, they're gone.
Exactly. If your customers feel surveilled, they will leave.
So how do the technical tools actually handle customer privacy while still predicting these super intimate behaviors?
This is where the mechanics of that unsupervised learning we discussed earlier become your shield. Modern predictive tools are designed to analyze massive market trends without requiring personally identifiable information, or PII.
Okay, so they can see the overall pattern of the forest without needing to hang a name tag on every single tree.
That's a great way to look at it. Through strict data anonymization and utilizing robust consent management platforms, businesses can operate within the bounds of major privacy regulations like GDPR in Europe or the CCPA in California.
Right.
The AI doesn't actually need to know that your name is John Smith and you live at 123 Main Street to know that your specific anonymous browsing pattern indicates a 90% likelihood that you will buy a winter coat next Tuesday. It predicts the pattern, not the person.
But Dr. Arnold goes further than just telling you to follow the law. He lays out an ethical responsibility regarding the data itself. We actually went through the text and synthesized his guidelines into a mental checklist. If you are a business about to launch a predictive AI campaign, you need to verify your data accuracy and fairness.
Think of this as the pre-flight safety check before you take off.
Exactly. That's a non-negotiable checklist. Step 1, check for bias. You must ask your data team, are the historical data sets we are feeding this AI inclusive?
Right. Or are they inadvertently built on data that perpetuates existing inequalities? Because an AI has no moral compass. If your historical data contains human bias, your predictive model won't fix it. It will just automate and scale that bias at light speed.
Yeah. Step 2, frequent audits. You can't just plug the AI into the wall, turn it on, and go to lunch.
No, definitely not.
You have to regularly audit the algorithms. Are the mathematical models drifting over time? Are the decisions the AI is making still aligning with your core organizational values?
And then step 3, transparency. Are you proactively and openly communicating to your consumers exactly what data is being sourced, how it is being processed, and how it benefits them? Transparency is really the antidote to the creepy Big Brother feeling. If you demystify the AI, you disarm the fear.
There's a fantastic case study in the book about a hospital network that proves this point perfectly. They used predictive algorithms to improve patient care, which, honestly, sounds like a privacy minefield.
Oh, definitely was. But it's a masterclass in using trust as a growth strategy. The hospital network implemented machine learning to analyze vast amounts of patient feedback and health outcomes to predict scheduling bottlenecks and care gaps.
Okay.
Now, they could have hidden this, fearing patients would think an AI was making their medical decisions.
But instead, they ran a marketing campaign about it.
They explicitly highlighted it. They launched targeted messaging explaining, "We are using advanced data analytics to ensure you get faster appointments and more personalized care plans." They were radically transparent about the tool and how it served the patient.
And the result was counterintuitive. Because they were open, it actually increased patient trust. People felt looked after, not spied on. It led to higher appointment bookings and better retention. They didn't hide the AI. They used it as proof of their commitment.
Which brings us to the final reality check of the book. Let's say you've navigated the privacy ethics, you've integrated the software, you've trained your staff, and you've aligned your archers. How do you actually know if your remarkably expensive new predictive model is working during the initial rollout phase?
Right, and I'm going to push back here, though. Every business book talks about tracking KPIs. Is Dr. Arnold actually suggesting anything new for an AI rollout? Or is he just rebranding standard business 101 metrics like ROI?
He is isolating metrics that specifically test the health of the machine learning model, not just the sales team. For instance, he emphasizes tracking predictive accuracy.
Okay, what does that mean in practice?
This isn't just asking, did we make money? It's asking, did the model actually forecast the behavior correctly? If the AI predicted a specific customer segment would convert at 15% and they only converted at 4%, your model is hallucinating or misaligned, and the algorithms need immediate recalibration.
He also stresses segmentation accuracy.
Yes. Are the behavioral clusters the AI identified actually yielding profitable returns? If the K-means algorithm segments out those first-time homebuyers, but that specific group isn't engaging with your tailored content, the segmentation logic has failed.
Then, of course, you have the financial realities. Customer lifetime value, or CLV. Is the hyper-personalization actually making customers stay loyal longer? Acquisition costs.
Right. Is the AI finding the target efficiently enough that you are spending less to acquire each new user?
And ultimately, return on investment.
But the most crucial metrics he introduces are the ones many marketers ignore, the privacy KPIs.
Which honestly blew my mind. Tracking privacy as a performance metric.
If trust is your ultimate strategy, you have to measure it quantitatively. Businesses must track their customer consent rates. When asked, how many people are willingly opting into your data collection because they actually trust your brand?
And on the flip side, you track opt-out rates. Like, if your system fires off an automated, hyper-personalized email predicting a future need, and you suddenly see a massive spike in unsubscribes, the data is telling you exactly what happened.
You crossed the line.
Yeah. You went from helpful to creepy, and the audience pulled the ripcord.
Exactly. You also measure compliance audit results. The point is, you must measure the health of your ethical boundaries just as rigorously as you measure your revenue. Because if your trust metrics crash, your financial metrics are going to follow right behind them.
So let's pull all of this together. The core message of Dr. Arnold's work is that predictive analytics is fundamentally shifting the marketing universe. We are taking our eyes off the rearview mirror of human intuition and looking forward through the GPS of machine-driven foresight.
And to survive that shift, organizations can't just arm 10,000 archers and hope for the best. They have to integrate scalable tools smoothly, retrain their entire workforce to test hypotheses, and use unsupervised learning to discover the hidden patterns in customer behavior.
Right. They have to maintain strict ethical guardrails, anonymize data to protect privacy, and rigorously track their predictive accuracy to ensure those robotic arms are hitting the bullseye.
It is a profound technological evolution, but reading through the implications of these tools, it really leaves us with a rather stunning question about the future of commerce itself.
Oh, I like where this is going. What's the thought?
If predictive AI becomes so unbelievably advanced that it can perfectly anticipate exactly what a global consumer base will want, not just tomorrow, but 2 years from now,
Yeah.
will marketing departments stop simply figuring out how to sell existing products? Will they, fueled by this predictive certainty, become the primary architects who dictate to the engineers what new products need to be invented in the first place?
Wow. From selling the product to literally manifesting the future demand. That is a massive paradigm shift. Because at the end of the day, no one wants to be the brand guessing what the customer wants and getting it completely wrong. You want to be the brand that already holds the answer before the customers even ask the question. Something to deeply consider as you look at your own data. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.